In yesterday's session, we have seen about one more shape called as process call shape. So here process call shape is helpful for me to establish the communication between one process to the another process. And at the same time, if I want to send the data from one process to the another process, I have to make sure that I need to select start shape of data pass through in the second process. Okay. So here, if I execute the main process, okay, that is nothing but if I execute the first process, automatically this will be redirected to the second process execution. Okay, so here process call shape is helpful for me to establish the communication between one process to the another process. And at the same time, if I want to send the data from one process to another process, I have to select start shape of data pass through in the second process here. Now today, we are going to see the types of integrations. Okay, types of integrations. Okay, so here we are going to see three types of integrations. Those are nothing but on-prem integration, hybrid integration, and cloud-based integration. Cloud-based integration. But these are the three types of integrations available. So first start with on-prem integration. What is meant by on-prem? So here, if I go back to early 2000 or 1995, during those period, there is no concept of cloud. Okay. So at that point of time, each and every company used to maintain their own hardware equipment and where they are going to install the softwares. Okay, in the internal hardware where there will be separate maintenance team and everything. Okay. So if I want to say on-prem, whatever the application or whatever the software it is going to maintain within the company's hardware equipment, that application we should treat as on-prem. If I am going to do the integration between two different on-prem applications, those type of integrations are called as on-prem integration. Okay, once again I'm repeating. If I want to say on-prem, whatever the application or whatever the hardware we are going to maintain within the company's hardware equipment, okay, within the company's corporate firewall. Okay, so if I'm going to do the integration between two on-prem applications, those type of integrations are called as on-prem integration. Okay, let's take example. I am having the data in the company's hardware equipment. Now I am interested to send that data into the Oracle database. So here Oracle database is also an on-prem application. Why? Because they are going to integrate that Oracle DB in the company's hardware equipment. So here the communication is going to happen between company's local drive to the Oracle DB. Okay, let's take another example. Now I am going to have the data in the company's hardware equipment. Let's take example. I am going to install ERP system. That is nothing but SAP system. So if I want to say the SAP system, in general, SAP system will be integrated in the company's hardware. Okay. Now, I am going to install the ERP system in the company's hardware equipment. And then I am going to send the data into the Oracle DB. So here Oracle DB is also getting installed in the company's hardware equipment. So these two applications are maintained in the company's hardware equipment. So we should treat those as on-prem integrations. Blindly, you need to remember one thing. On-prem means whenever the application is maintained in the company's hardware equipment or which is maintained in the company's corporate firewall, that is called as on-prem integration. Okay. Now coming to the hybrid integration. So if I want to say hybrid, either source or target. Okay, either source or target. Any one will be the cloud-based application and another one will be the on-prem application. If I am going to do the integration between one on-prem application and one cloud-based application, these type of integrations are called as hybrid integrations. Okay, let's take example. In the upcoming session, I am going to fetch the data from Salesforce. Here, Salesforce is a cloud-based application. Okay. Here, Salesforce is a cloud-based application. I am going to fetch the data from Salesforce. And I am going to send the data into the Oracle DB. So here, Oracle DB is an on-prem application. Why? Because I am going to install Oracle DB in the company's hardware equipment. Okay, one application is cloud-based application and another application is on-prem application. If I am going to do the integration between one on-prem and one cloud-based applications, These two types of integration concepts called as hybrid integration. Okay. So here both source and target are on-prem application. That integration is called as on-prem integration. If either source or target, one will be the cloud-based application and another will be on-prem application. If I am going to do the integration between one cloud-based and one on-prem application, these type of integrations are called as hybrid integrations. Now coming to the cloud-based integration. If I am going to do the integration between two cloud-based platforms, okay. Let's take example. I am going to fetch the data from Salesforce, which is a cloud-based CRM application, and I am going to send the data into the AWS cloud. Here, AWS cloud is also a cloud-based application. Now, if I am going to do the integration between two cloud-based applications, those type of integrations are called as cloud-based integrations here. Okay, so those are called as cloud-based applications. Here in this situation, both source and target are cloud-based applications. So if I'm going to do the integration between two cloud-based applications, that is called as cloud-based integration here. Okay. These are the three types of integrations we are having. Okay. Delbumi, even though it is a cloud-based iPaaS application, okay, Delbumi, even though it is a cloud-based iPaaS application, it has been designed in such a way that it is going to work in all the three types of use cases. Okay. So Delbumi, even though it is an iPaaS, it has been designed in such a way that it is going to work in all these three types of use cases here. Okay. Now here, Delbumi is a multi-tenant cloud-based platform. Okay, Delbumi is a multi-tenant cloud-based platform hosted and managed by the Delbumi. Okay, and here Boomi is coming up with three important features. That is nothing but build the integrations, deploy the integrations, and manage the integrations. Okay, Delbumi is having three important features: to build the integration, deploy the integration, and to manage the integration. This is the single platform which allows you to build the integration, to deploy the integration, and to manage the integration here. Okay. Now, till now we have been developed the process. Now it's the time for the deployment. Okay. So in order to do the deployment, Boomi has come up with three different flavors. Okay. In order to do the deployment, Boomi has come up with three different flavors. Okay. If I want to deploy anything, we need to have three different flavors. Those are nothing but the runtime engines. Okay. So as I have told you initially, Boomi is having three types of runtime engines. Those are nothing but Atom, Molecule, and Atom Flow. Okay. These are the three types of runtime engines. Now, first I am going to start with Atom. So here, Atom is a single tenant. Okay. Atom is a single tenant hosted and managed by the enterprise. Single tenant in the sense, I have shared the username to both of you. Okay. Whatever the Atom you are installing, that is going to work in that particular tenant account only. Okay. So you are two members. I have shared the Boomi access separately to both of you. Whatever the Atom you are going to install in your particular laptop, that is going to work specifically in that laptop itself. So it means that it is a single tenant. Okay. Whatever the Atom you are going to install, that is going to work in that particular tenant access only. Okay. And hosted and managed by the enterprise itself. It means that nowhere Boomi is going to involve. Just you are logging into the Boomi account and you are downloading the Atom and you are installing the Atom. It means that everything is taken care by the end customer here. Okay. And here Atom is used in on-prem integrations. Okay. So on-prem means that it has to be hosted and managed by the enterprise itself. Okay. Similarly, this Atom is also going to get installed in the company's corporate firewall or within the company's hardware equipment. Okay. That is, we should call it as local Atom. Okay. On-prem is something which is behind the corporate firewall. Okay. Till now, I am telling that this Atom has to be installed within the company's hardware equipment or it should be installed in the on-prem application. Okay, fine. Now, some companies, okay, let's take example, some startup companies, instead of maintaining the hardware equipment or instead of maintaining the internal equipment, some companies are moving towards cloud storages. Okay, some companies are moving towards cloud storages. Let's take example, if I'm having a startup company, I am not having sufficient budget to maintain the hardware equipment and to maintain the resources. So at that point of time, I will go for cloud storages. So whenever I'm using the cloud storage, there might be a situation where I can install the Atom in the cloud storage. Okay, there might be a situation where I can install the Atom in the cloud storages. So in that situation also, whether it is Azure cloud or AWS cloud or Google cloud, okay, these are the three leading clouds which are available in the market. So whether you are using the cloud storages, at that point of time, you may get the situation to install the atoms in that particular cloud storage. So that also we should treat as on-prem only. Why? Because these cloud storages are going to manage and maintained by your itself. Okay, so still we should treat this as local atom. Why? Because whatever the cloud storage you are using, that is also hosted and managed by the enterprise itself. It means that it is not mandatory that this atom should be always maintained by the company's hardware, okay, or maintained by the enterprise. In some situations, okay, some companies might be using the cloud storages. At that point of time, they can install the Atom in the local storages as well, okay. Now, this Atom is purely used for on-prem integrations and as well as hybrid integrations. Okay, why? Because in on-prem, we are going to see the on-prem application, and in hybrid integration also, we are going to see the on-prem applications. So wherever you see the on-prem application, we can use Atom. Okay. Now coming to the molecule. Okay. So before going to the molecule, we should know the types of licenses available in Boomi. So in Boomi, we are having 5 types of licenses: basic, professional, professional plus, enterprise, and enterprise plus. Okay, we are not going to involve in the licensing and all, where top level managers they are going to involve, but as basic knowledge I am going to tell you. So in Boomi we are having 5 types of licenses: basic, professional, professional plus, enterprise and enterprise plus. So for all the types of versions we are going to get the Atom by default. Okay, for all the types of licenses we are going to get the Atom by default. But coming to the molecule, molecule will be given for the higher versions of the license here. Why? Because whatever the molecule is going to do, the similar task can be done by the atom. Okay, whatever the atom is going to perform, the same work can be done by the molecule as well. But in molecule, we are having some advanced features. It means that molecule is going to provide you clustered offering. Okay, molecule is going to provide you clustered offering for high availability and to handle the failover. Okay, if I want high availability, suppose if the client is having sufficient budget, okay, at that point of time, they will go for molecule. See, whatever the task the molecule is going to do, the same task can be performed by the atom as well. But if you go for molecule, there will be high availability and to handle the failover. It means that suppose if you are having heavy traffic all of the sudden, okay, so at that point of time, molecule is going to have the multi-node concept. Multi-node concept in the sense, suppose if one node is having heavy traffic, automatically the other node is going to take up the traffic here. Okay, whenever there is a heavy traffic, one particular node does not get overloaded. If one node is having heavy traffic, automatically the other node is going to take the traffic here. So by this, there will be high availability. Okay, the concept of clustering was introduced. Okay, one cluster is having heavy traffic, automatically the other cluster is going to take up the traffic here. Okay, this molecule is also a single tenant solution, and this also has to be hosted and managed by the enterprise itself. Okay. This molecule is also hosted and managed by the enterprise itself. So here both atom and molecule, okay, here both atom and molecule has to be managed and maintained by the enterprise itself. And these two types, atom and molecule, we are going to use for both on-prem integrations and as well as hybrid integrations. Now coming to the atom cloud. This atom cloud is purely used for the this Atom Cloud is purely used for the cloud-based integrations. Okay, so it means that both source and target are cloud-based applications. So whatever the integration we are going to apply here, that is nothing but cloud-based integration. This Atom Cloud is purely used for the cloud-based integrations, and this Atom Cloud is hosted and managed by the Boomi itself. Nowhere the enterprise is involved. So the end client Boomi is going to take care of this Atom Cloud. But whenever we are using Atom Cloud, we are going to see the concept of private Atom Cloud and public Atom Cloud. We are going to see the concept of private Atom Cloud and public Atom Cloud. Private Atom Cloud in the sense, whenever we are going to see the concept of subleasing. Okay, if we are going to see the subleasing concept, that we should treat as private atom cloud. What is meant by subleasing? Let's take example. If I am working for Infosys, okay, let's take example. Infosys is having projects with 5 small clients. Okay, let's take example. Infosys is tying up with the small clients where they are having the cloud-based applications and they are going to develop the project here. But as a startups, they are not having sufficient budget to get the license directly from Ruby. So at that point of time, Infosys is going to suggest the startup companies instead of going direct access with Boomi, here Infosys is going to provide subleasing concept to the startups. Okay, Infosys is going to provide subleasing concept to the startups. So the startup companies will tie up with Infosys and they are going to pay on pro rata basis. Okay, wherever the subleasing concept is involved, that is called as private atom cloud. And public atom cloud is nothing but direct access from Boomi. Whether it is private atom cloud or public atom cloud, the end support will be provided by the Boomi team. If you are going for the private atom cloud, in between the end client Boomi and between the startup company, one resource will be there from the Infosys end, where he is going to act as a mediator between the Boomi to the startup company. Okay. Now, now if I want to deploy the process, okay, if I want to deploy the process, we need to have the concept of environment. Okay, if I want to deploy the process, we need to have the concept of environment. In general, in remaining technologies, we have seen different types of environments. Those are nothing but development environment, production environment, test environment, Q&A, like this. Okay, there are different types of environments. But when it comes to the Boomi, here we are going to see only 2 types of environments. Those are nothing but production environment and test environment. Okay, so anything which is non-prod, that is test as per Boomi. Okay, so here in Boomi we are having only 2 types of environments: production environment and test environment. If you purchase 5 production connections, okay, so as I have told you previously, Boomi licensing cost is going to depend based on the number of connections you are going to purchase. Let us assume if you are going to purchase 5 prod connections, okay, 5 connections of the production, okay. You are going to purchase 5 production connections, as Boomi is going to suggest you to take 10 test connections. Why? Because 5 will be used for the development and remaining 5 will be used for the test environment. Okay, remaining 5 will be used for the test environment. Let's take example, whatever the process I have developed here. Okay, whatever the process I have developed here, till now I have used only one disconnector. Okay, till now I have used only one disconnector. Suppose if I want to deploy this process in production environment, it is going to consume one prod connection. Okay, it is going to consume one prod connection and the remaining 4 production connections will be there. Okay, suppose if I am going to deploy this process in the production environment, it is going to consume one production connection and the remaining 4 connections will be left over. Now let us assume if I am going to deploy the same process in the test environment as well, again it is going to consume one test connection. Okay, it is going to consume one test connection and the remaining 4 test connections will be left over. It means that whatever the environment you are going to deploy, okay, whatever the environment you are going to deploy, so based on that environment, it is going to consume the respective connections here. If you are going to deploy in production environment, it is going to consume the production connections. If I am going to deploy this one in the test environment, it is going to consume the test connections here. Okay. Now, if I want to deploy, okay, whenever you want to deploy the process, you need to have the environment. And at the same time, okay, and at the same time, you need to have the runtime as well. Okay. So why? Because if I want to deploy the process, I need to have the environment and that particular environment should be attached with the runtime engine. Okay. You cannot deploy a process. Okay. You cannot deploy a process without having the runtime and environment. Why? Because if I want to deploy the process to any environment, I need to have the runtime engine and that particular runtime engine has to be attached to the environment. Here, environment is more like a container. Okay, environment is more like a container which can have the runtime. Whenever you want to deploy, Okay, whenever you want to deploy, you have to make sure that you need to have the environment, and that particular environment should be attached with the one or more runtime engines. Okay, now let's see the logic here. Let us assume I am having the production environment and here I am having the test environment. Okay, now here, let's say I am going to deploy the process in the production environment. So for this production environment, I can attach my atom. Okay, and I can attach Mahesh atom. Okay, I can attach my atom and Mahesh atom. It means that one environment can have multiple runtime engines. Okay, one environment can have multiple runtime engines. See here, this is the production environment and it is having different runtime engines of different users. Okay, so here already I have used my atom and Mahesh atom. But if I want to attach my atom and Mahesh atom, I cannot attach to the test environment. It means that one environment can have multiple runtime engines and one runtime engine can be attached to one environment at a time. It means that here for the production environment, I have already attached my atom and Mahesh atom. So because of that reason, I cannot attach these two atoms to the test environment. Okay. So it means that one environment can have multiple runtime engines of different users and one runtime engine can be attached to one environment at a time. Okay.